live on film. Holly, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy 2023.
Can you believe
I
this?
love it.
This is the first show of this year, and boy, is it going to be a packed-filled show.
It is. In fact, we got a lot to talk about. So much so that I've got notes and I've got glasses because that's the way it's going to roll this show.
Yeah, that's good. People are going to see me going, looking down a lot, and that's because we have so much. We didn't want to miss anything, so we've got notes for everything. Now, I noticed
a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, but I noticed you are in a whole different location. What's going on here?
I am, Isaac. I am doing, as well as the other things I do, I'm doing a radio show called Real Talk with Holly McClure. And I tape it right here in Weatherford at this wonderful station. And you can find it on ChristianFM.org. And this station is Christian FM 99.9. So when you go to the website, look for Christian FM 99.9 in Weatherford, Texas, and you'll see my shows. Well, hear my shows. It's not seeing, it's radio. So you can hear it. But I've already got some great shows that I've been doing for a few months now and got even better ones to launch for this year. So, and including one that we had with Isaac. You and I did a show together. So I've got that on there. So yeah, so this is my studio where I come in and record.
Well, fantastic. This is mine, and this is all I do. No radio show, no nothing else, just this. But you know what? A great way to kick off this new show is, of course, that we're going to give some insight into what exciting things Christians are doing. We're going to talk about what Kirk Cameron's doing, the Kendrick brothers, and we're going to take a look at an entertainment company from a Hollywood actor who has played mean villains, and believe me,
you've seen him, everyone. You've seen him. Yes. You've seen what he's been on because he's been doing it for years.
I'm such a fan, and then Holly, you're going to talk, of course, about a few movies that are out right now, right?
Right, including one of the biggest movies, Avatar: The Way of the Water, or Avatar 2, as they're calling it, and got an insight into that. So yeah, we've got a lot to cover on this show, Isaac.
Well, that's excellent. Now, let's talk about this one. One of my favorite actors, which is, of course, a great man of God, is bringing reformation to the world, basically. And that's Kirk Cameron, who made news a few weeks ago by the fact that he was basically ignored or really rejected by several libraries. I think it was 50 libraries that rejected him coming over and doing story time. Now, interestingly enough, those same libraries that rejected him were the ones that had previously had Drag Queen Story Hour for Children.
Yes. Yes. Now, his book is As You Grow, and the book As You Grow, and it teaches kids on the Holy Spirit and as they're growing. It's a good book. Nothing in it, crazy, nothing in it questionable, like, drag shows that would be questionable for children. And yet 50 libraries turned him down. And then what happened, Isaac?
Finally, one library in Indianapolis went ahead and gave him the okay to come and do the story. And guess what? Over 2,500 people showed up. 2,500 people. Now, the library says that this message, they made this announcement. This is a message to every library in the United States. In 137 years of the Indianapolis Public Library's history, never once have they had over 2,500 people show up to a single event. The publication. I bet not. Oh, can you imagine? See,
not to a library.
We no longer should be silent, and that's the problem. Is we're a majority, but we are a silent majority. We need to start speaking up because it will work.
Right. And taking a stand for injustice. And what they did to Kurt was injustice because it's not fair. It's one thing if you have a rule across the board, but they clearly were showing they're biased against Christians, biased against conservatives, and it's wrong. And he took a stand and he won. This set a pace. In fact, he's already booked for other libraries now. They're opening their doors to him because what library doesn't want 2,500 people to come to their library? I mean, pretty good publicity for all of them, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. I wanted to say too, I looked up, I love numbers, and I looked up what God says about numbers and what God said about 2023. And in the prophetic world, the common threads are saying they're seeing a pathway towards the focus of reformation. So 2023, what does it mean? The Lord is saying 2023 is a year to focus on reformation by returning to the word of God and the fear of God. And I love it that you just said this story because this is a perfect example of someone who's taking a stand and fighting for reformation, not only in our culture, but to get that word of God out there.
Absolutely. And that's why I say we can't just sit back and let stuff happen. We can't let Hollywood just kind of take over and put out whatever they want to put out. We have to start bringing in what we know is, from the Word of God.
Absolutely. Now, here's something else. Another way Christians are taking the stand, and I'm going to read these stats because I don't have them down. Here's some ways that they are rebelling, which I love this, rebelling against the woke world and against what Hollywood is trying to do. Wow. Okay, and I love this because we talked about many of these stories, Isaac, actually. We've covered a couple of these stories throughout what's going on. But here's way last year, and this leads up to what we're talking about, what's coming out, because there is a change, and here's what's coming with Christians and what we're going to do in the industry coming out in the next years and few years, actually. Okay. But Disney. Okay, the first animated film was openly LGBT. Strange World opened before Thanksgiving, closed basically after Thanksgiving. It tanked at the box office. The film had a whopping $180 million budget, but it only took in $24 million, which is not successful in Hollywood standards, in case you don't know that. And it bombed. Okay, and remember we were talking about that, how it was openly gay and crossover transgender characters. Okay, well, Pixar, their latest one, Toy Story Lightyear, we talked about how that failed to meet expectations, earning $51 million at the box office. And I think it cost $150 million, Isaac, to make. And it was the first one that introduced a kiss with characters. And they should have known, because from there, it went downhill. And of course, that's when DeSantis, they were attacking him. And so there was a really reversal of that. Another film, Bros, that was not animated, but an actual film live action, failed miserably. It grossed $14.8 million. The New York Times said, oh, maybe it's homophobia, because it completely tanked and bombed. Wow. No, it's not homophobia. It's we don't want to see that on the big screen. No one wants to see it. And it's not just Christians or conservatives. I mean, it tanked at the box office overall. So even the gay community didn't really support it. Otherwise it would have been huge, huge numbers, according to what they say are the numbers and that they're counting on this country. So apparently there's not that many out there that support this on film. Movies with an overtly theme like Amsterdam, that was one. I don't know if anyone even knows that film came out. It was with Robert De Niro, his character. He was giving a veiled speech against telling a character like Trump off. Well, it bombed, needless to say. So, yeah, there's a few films that, and there's other things that have bombed, aren't there, Isaac?
Well, I understand even the climate change documentary that To the End, I think it's called, from Representative Alejandria Ocasio-Cortez. It also bombed it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, except for maybe right there in her area of New York. Now, it made, get a load of this, it made $80 per theater. What is that like?
80, that's embarrassing.
I'd be like 8 people went to see the movie.
And she should have been ashamed and embarrassed. Like it should have been a big news splash making so much fun of her. But of course, people probably didn't even hear about it.
Well, here, the editor of a Hollywood entertainment outlet said projects with woke themes tend to turn away audiences. The American public is increasingly aware woke Hollywood projects and often steers clear of them. Now, one project, the Warner Brothers film Batgirl, featuring a race-swapped heroine, got canceled before its release date, despite having completed much of the shoot. Netflix and Hulu also canceled woke shows and defended comedians that have been attacked by progressives. Hulu canceled its original series, literally named Woke. There's actually a series named Woke.
And it wasn't popular.
Oh,
surprise.
My goodness. Yeah, I know. And of course, the streaming giant did stand up for unwoke comedians like Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais, understanding their robust ratings. See, if you go unwoke, you get huge ratings, and they're starting to realize, wait a minute, that's what we want.
That's what we want. And did you know that the Batgirl, that movie, right after Top Gun came out, right after Maverick came out this summer, the head of Warner Brothers canceled it because he said he realized right then what people were paying and wanting to go see and supporting, the Americana, the true spirit, the men service in the airport and women in the airport and the camaraderie in America. They realized his movie didn't have that. And in fact, cost $90 million and he canceled it. He just canceled it, and it was already filmed. So that's how they realize the wave that's coming. So talk about a red wave. I think that there has been a red wave in other ways. Maybe it wasn't politically because of whatever reasons, but we sure saw it at the box office. We sure did.
Yes, we did. Now, speaking of box office, there's a lot happening in the box office that you're very aware of, isn't there?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Hey, has everyone seen Avatar: The Way of the Water? Well, if you haven't, I've actually seen it twice because I went with nieces as well. Isaac, you haven't seen it?
I have not.
Isaac, are you busy with family during Christmas? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just, I find that I haven't gone to theaters as much. I'm watching a lot of movies here on TV, a lot of the Christian movies on TV, and we just haven't gone out. Maybe it's because I'm getting too old. I don't know.
No, it's okay. Well, there's plenty of time because it's going to be in theaters for a while now. Hey, let's let everybody watch the trailer, and I'll give a few facts while we're watching it.
All righty.
Okay, Avatar: The Way of the Water. It continues to dominate the holiday box office. James Cameron's epic has now hit 1.17 billion and probably even more after this last weekend, becoming the third highest grossing film of the pandemic era behind Spider-Man: No Way Home and behind Top Gun: Maverick that had 1.5 billion. It now ranks as the highest grossing international release of this year so far. And Avatar cost $250 million to make. So you think, well, they made a lot of money back. Well, Avatar 3, he's already finished that. That's also cost $250 million to make. That's coming out next year, Christmas 2024. And that also costs, when you add them together and what they've spent, yeah, he still wants to make about $2 billion to recover the losses and make money on the film. Avatar: The Way of the Water focuses on the Sully clan as they face down a set of invaders that threaten the harmony of Pandora, their mystical planet. Cameron developed new technology that allowed them to shoot performance sequences underwater. And in fact, the cast had to learn to free dive so they could hold their breath during the action scenes. Now, he brought back Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, all they had to learn, Stephen Lang, he's the bad guy, and Sigourney Weaver. Everyone's going to say, well, didn't she die in the first one? Yeah, well, she's back as a 15-year-old. You'll have to see it to understand it. And also includes newcomer Kate Winslet, which Kate Winslet had to practice for 6 months how to hold her breath for 5 minutes underwater. And she actually had to practice that because they literally had to go underwater to film scenes. Now, here's what I thought was funny, Isaac. I thought it was funny that she, of course, was in Titanic. So one of her first big films was with James Cameron in Titanic, making that movie, a ship that sunk. In this movie, there is a ship that sinks and literally flips over just like Titanic. So I'm looking going, okay, this kind of feels kind of, like you're going back flashbacks because this is what she did before. So it's funny because she's now in the series, and of course she'll be in 3 and then she'll be in 4. So anyway, it's kind of an interesting little insight behind it, but it's doing well and continuing. I liked it. I did like it. The only thing I don't like, and I'm just going to warn people, there's a few religious profanities, sprinkled throughout the J and the GD word, just a few, but it's unnecessary, but that's James Cameron, and that's what they do. So I'm sorry, I'm not condoning it. I'm just letting you know that's in there, but it's rated PG-13, folks. So I do think it's really for mature 11, 12 on up. It's not that little kids wouldn't be fascinated, but it's 3 hours and 10 minutes. So can your 5-year-old sit there for 3 hours and 10 minutes? I don't think so. And it's not really for 5-year-olds. It's got language, it's got violence, it's got action, and there's things that are too much and too big. So it's not a kiddie film.
Over 3 hours. Wow.
3 hours and 10 minutes. So wear a diaper and take your snacks. Pretty much could be it.
Wait a minute. Have you been to the movies with me or something? No, never mind. I don't. TMI.
3 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, I know. It's anyway, it's kind of funny, but hey, it's doing well, so we'll see. And that's the biggie film starting off 2023. And they're saying that in this coming year, we've got 3 things to look for. We've got Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford. They de-aged him, Isaac, de-aged him throughout the whole movie, so he looks younger, like he did as the Harrison Ford that we know. And that's going to be a big one. And then, of course, Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, they're saying that's going to be probably just as big as Maverick because he's got everyone now who loves Tom Cruise, and it's going to be a phenomenal film. So that they're looking to that being their big box office. But we'll see if Avatar can supersede it or not.
I guarantee you I will go see Indiana Jones. I absolutely love those kind of movies.
Yes, and Harrison Ford, someone asked him and said, well, who would you like to replace? Would you like Chris Pratt or, and he goes, no one's going to replace me. No one else will be Indiana Jones. And so he's very clear about saying nobody's going to come later to play that character.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah, it won't be like 007 who had like how many? I don't know, 10 or 12 or I don't
And
even
then
know.
he becomes a girl. And then it becomes a girl.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
it becomes a girl.
Pretty sure Indiana Jones doesn't want to become that. So yeah. Or
No,
trans or something.
I would think not. Now, here, this story really got me excited recently. There's an actor in Hollywood who realized that there needs to be a change. Now, I've seen this actor, and you'll recognize him. We talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the show. His name is Neil McDonough. Now, he's portrayed numerous movie villains in shows like Yellowstone, which, by the way, I barely started watching. I know.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. See, I seem to be behind on everything. We barely started watching Yellowstone, and wow, what a series!
Well,
Anyway,
yeah, wow. And he's in season. I think he's in
3, you
season
said?
4.
4?
3 or
Okay.
4. Yeah, because we just had 5 and he's gone. So the bad
Right.
guy. So I think it was season 3 and 4. Yeah.
Well, I just started watching season 1. My daughter says that
Okay.
maybe I might actually want to watch the prequel, the first prequel first now that they brought it out.
1883. Yes.
And then
That'll
go
give
to
you a
watch
real
season
good
1.
idea.
So I think that's
Yes.
probably where we'll go.
However, in season 1,
Uh-huh.
they do flashbacks to that time and reference it. So they do reference it, and this was done before the other show was filmed. So it does reference it. So it's interesting.
Well, I loved it just because it's a culture that I've never really been a part of, and just to see that culture, that cowboy culture, was rather interesting. Especially now that I live in Texas.
Especially now that you're in Texas.
Yeah, so lots of cowboys here. So anyway, this actor was on Minority Report, Band of Brothers, Desperate Housewives. Recently, I believe I saw him in a series that I did watch just a few months ago called Suits, all about
Yes.
lawyers. Oh, he was fantastic on that.
He's been around, and he always
has.
plays the bad guy,
Well,
and he plays it well.
but he is a Christian. He's a devout Catholic. And as a matter of fact, from what I've read, when he sounds weird to say when he came out, but when he officially came out, he got blacklisted there for a while. But anyway, him and his wife have decided to launch a film company that is going to be faith-based. Now, he said he's not going to make all his movies necessarily be strong faith-based, but they are going to have a faith background and are definitely going to be faith-friendly. There's a guy
Family
that's doing
friendly,
the right
faith
thing.
friendly.
Yep.
And he's doing it with his wife. He said for years he didn't have the money to do it, but now that he's done Yellowstone, and Taylor Sheridan, by the way, loved him and brought him on. And the thing that I love about him, Isaac, well, several, but one of the things, first of all, he can play an evil guy so much he's just infuriating. Secondly, he will not kiss women on film. He said he's saving himself for, let me quote it exactly. He said, for nearly 20 years, he's been married. He shared that he refuses to do kissing scenes with his co-stars because these lips are meant for one woman. He said, I like that guy.
Wow.
I like that one who stands up for that. Like Kirk Cameron. He's like Kirk Cameron says his name.
I was going to say, Kirk Cameron did the same thing because on the movie Fireproof.
Yes.
Now, there was that last scene where they had him and his TV or his movie wife kiss, but it wasn't the girl that played his wife then. They actually brought in his real wife
Yes,
to do the
his real
kissing,
wife.
and they just did a wide shot. That was pretty interesting.
Right. That's right. That's good. Now,
If you haven't seen the movie, if you haven't seen the movie Fireproof, go check it out now and look for that last final scene, and you'll see him kissing who you think might be his wife in the movie, but it's really his real wife.
Yeah, and you'll see that. And for Neil, do you know where their network is, or do you know how to find it or look it up, or does he have it released? Yeah, he must have, because I think
I don't know that he's released. I mean, it's a production company. I don't know that it's going to be a network. It's a production company that'll produce movies.
Yes.
But we're going to stay on that story. And in fact, I really would love to have him on the show.
Yes.
Since I saw that report, I said to myself, I got to get him on the show. So we'd love to have him on the show.
See if we can get him on there. That'd
Give
be
us all the
great.
information. Here's something interesting that he said, though. He said they don't just want to make a movie, but do a movie that actually gives God glory. That's their goal. Wow. From a Hollywood guy?
And that's a Hollywood guy. Is that impressive or what? Well, and there's some other news that you have, isn't there, about the brothers that we know. We know these guys.
Yes, the Kendrick brothers. Had them on the show a few months ago. Apparently, they're getting ready to shoot a new film. They're going to produce a new film this year. Now, we don't know what it is. They tend to keep things very secret in terms of what the movie is.
They don't release it.
But they are producing a new film this year. But even to me, more exciting is this year is the 20th anniversary of their very, very first movie, Flywheel.
And I love that movie. I loved it.
It was a great
I mean, it was horribly made. It was cheapy made, but I love the story.
It was great. From what I understand, I think they made it for like 20 grand. They even made their own dolly track, which a dolly track is something that you put your camera on so that it moves.
And you can tell it was like they had. You can tell.
Yeah, they made their own. But you know what? It was just such a great story. I remember actually crying on that final scene when he started going to everybody to, in essence, I don't remember if it was return their money or just that kind of to make amends for what he had done as a car salesman.
Yes.
So the exciting news is they're going to re-release it this year.
Yay! In fact, they've got several things going on that I remember seeing. They've got the second. Oh, it's a curriculum for college students. Heart of a filmmaker. Now that's going to be important for kids out there who want to learn how to make the movies and do it the Kendrick Brothers way, which they do have a formula and they did do really well. They're going to teach students how you learn to be Christian filmmakers and what it takes to make a film. And then, of course, like you said, the 20th anniversary of the Flywheel. I love that. Flywheel is going to, and he said they've got technology to make it look better and to fix it up and make it better. So, they're going in there and tweaking it and improving it. And, Now, I heard that Alex, I think our dear Alex, had touch with melanoma and cancer, right?
There was a couple of things. One of them is in March. He actually had a minor stroke. Now I don't know whether minor is not as bad as major. I'm assuming strokes are strokes, and you just don't want them. But he had a minor stroke, so from what I hear, he's doing okay from it. But he also had melanoma. He had it removed from his skull. And but the doctor has seen him and apparently has cleared him of cancer. Right now, he said he doesn't have cancer. But of course, we always know how those things are. So we want to keep praying for Alex to make sure that that his health continues to be good. Just letting you know, you guys, my mother had melanoma, a little thing on her nose, and she didn't really do anything about it. And for 2 years, she kept picking at it, and it would go a little red dot. It came back, and for 5 years, she fought it, and she died of melanoma cancer because it went into her lymph nodes and into her lungs, and it spread. So it is a serious thing. It's not just, you get it removed, no big deal. My son had melanoma internally from a mole on his back, and he almost died at 25 years old. He had stage 4 and had to go into a clinical trial, which in Jesus' name, he was healed and has still stayed healed and has a wife and 2 kids today, which they told him he wouldn't probably live past 5 years. Wow.
So I have personal accounts with melanoma to say it is not a joke. I've had some removed myself. And so good news to hear he is cancer-free. That's big news. Big news.
But see, I think that's the problem with like melanoma is you think of it as just a little something on your skin.
Yes.
And so you don't treat it as aggressively, and yet it can be. You've experienced it. It will be deadly.
It is deadly, but you know what? I love his attitude. Isaac, tell us what he said. The way he looked at it, because you think he's made movies about being sick and being healed. He's made all these movies where the Christians always come out on top. Well, he had experienced this stuff his own self, but I love his words of encouragement for people that are going through things.
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and say what they are because my notes are all over the place now.
Okay,
but I remember reading it that he was just very positive about it.
He said, God doesn't owe us anything, but he walks with us through the hard days because he's loving. He's faithful. And no matter what happens, he is good and is always faithful and loyal and deserves our praise and worship. He says, I'm going to keep rolling. And as long as the Lord allows me to, we'll keep serving him and doing what he's called us to do. Is that a great attitude or what?
That is definitely a great attitude. It reminds me of the song, In Everything, Give Him Praise. Or give him thanks.
Right. That's right.
In the good times and in the bad times.
And I can't wait to see how this affects their next film. Because, Alex and Stephen, his brother, always use life situations and circumstances to affect what they put in films. So very interesting to see if this has any, I don't know what it's about, but we'll see what it is. And it's interesting to see if that'll be in it. So
I always, I've been such a huge fan of theirs since Flywheel, actually. As a matter of fact, as you notice here in my office, I've got all their posters. My office got a little smaller now, so I've only got 4 of the posters. But I used to have them all in my home theater.
That's right.
I've just always loved their attitude about filmmaking and about why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
They're not
We've
doing
loved
it.
them.
Yeah.
We've loved them from the, like you said, Flywheel. And I think TBN was like doing something with that. And then Alex came up to me and said, hey, can I show you a little movie called Facing the Giants? And I'm like, okay. So I got Paul Crouch Jr. And we were at the Gaylord Hotel in Dallas at NRB.
Yes.
We went back into a bar in the restaurant area and got a big screen. And for people that haven't heard this story before, Alex goes, well, the bar restaurant, I can go in the back. And we're like, okay. So Paul and I went back in the back, and there was probably 6 people there, and we watched it. And at first Paul was like, I'm gonna leave after 15 minutes, so Holly just nudged me and you stay. I'm like, okay. Well, when it came to the crawling scene, both of us were like teary-eyed, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and we were like, we're staying. And it was like from there on history. The next year he was a keynote speaker at so many award shows and just accepting trophies for the best film of the year. So it's good to see the journey that Stephen and Alex have taken together.
Yeah, absolutely. But, Holly, we always say, you know what we've prepared here will take about 15 minutes. So then let's talk about something else for the next 15 or so. And so it turns out we just run out of time. I mean, we pretty much only have a couple of minutes left here. And I just wanted to very quickly talk about that, this year we really have some exciting new plans for the show, don't we?
We do. We are growing, Isaac. And thanks to you all out there. Thanks to you guys for going to YouTube and hitting that subscribe button and helping our viewership increase. And thanks for making comments on Facebook and Instagram and supporting us. And we just really appreciate all the outlets and networks and stations that carry our show. We are so grateful to you and to them for allowing us a little idea that Isaac had a couple of years ago, and it's grown now. And we are just blessed that you guys are wanting to have us and do more. So we're planning big things, aren't we, Isaac?
Big things. Anything from attending, red carpet premieres, whether you attend, Holly, or we send somebody, but we want to make sure people see what's going on there, especially movies that are good for us as Christians. And if there's more Christian red carpets, we definitely want to attend those. A lot more guests that we'll be looking for, especially maybe some Hollywood guests. I think it's time we bring in some Hollywood guests that are Christians so that you can see that there are Christians out there in Hollywood like Neil McDonough. And let's see, what else? Oh, yeah. I also, and Holly, this is, I think I've mentioned this to you, but I want to do some live shows, some live events, because this we tape and then it goes out. Some people don't get to see this to right now what we're doing for 2 to 3 weeks. I want to do some live things so that if something is happening out there that we're like, we got to let the people know.
Yes.
Just go live on Facebook. People can even comment live as we're doing the show. So that's another big idea that I have that I think would really be
absolutely
fun to do.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a lot of exciting things happening and God blesses this show and it takes us and has prospered us and taken, like I said, even more outlets. And we're so grateful. Absolutely. So we appreciate your support, everyone. We appreciate you supporting us. Please continue to, go to, like I said, YouTube and subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and let us know what you think. And if there's something you want us to do or cover, email us and let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Yeah, you can email us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And of course, you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at faithonfilmtv. Holly, we have finished our first show of the year.
Yay! I wear my blue, my New Year's Eve blue, so to kick it off, yay, 2023.
All I have was this right here.
See, we're matching. See?
I was hoping I'd get one of those blues, but I didn't have any. All right, Holly, we'll see you next week, folks. We'll see you next week as well.
God bless.